Sometimes, car, you really get me angry, but for today, you run. Safety first. Alright, so today on the WRX files, we're going to talk about what it's like to go through all the heartaches, troubles, and tribulations with this money pit pile of mess that I like to call my car. And a glorious car it can be, as I said in the last episode. It is great, it is fun to drive. There's a lot of memories to it, but there's a lot of bad memories. Ones that I would like to get rid of. And first off, it starts with the problems that you will have owning a Subaru. Many problems, such as vacuum leaks that you will never be able to figure out where the hell they came from or how the hell they started, but for some reason, you'll still love the car regardless, even though it pisses you off to the point where you just can't figure out what the hell happened. Some of the other things, you'll kind of question what the engineers were thinking of when they put parts in certain places, or why they didn't do it a certain way. Or knowing that the fact that this is going to be a modified car, why would you make something out of the cheapest darn material ever so that it would break every single time you hit third gear? Those are the things that you kind of question on what Subaru was thinking when they built this, well, this car. But you still love it. There's still a certain expectation with it. And you just love the thing regardless of what it is. Regardless of what the problem is. As I said in my first video, I went through 3 transmissions with this thing. I actually rebuilt the transmission 3 times. 3 times. And the first time, seized first gear synchro. Didn't have first gear for a little while. And, wasn't so bad. Second time, I shattered third gear. Just completely broke it, shattered it, it was gone. Didn't exist anymore, it was completely rounded and flat, and you wouldn't even believe what the other gear looked like as well. Just missing teeth all over the place. It kind of looked like a Pasco County, well, never mind. We won't go there. So, with that being said, there are some things on this car that will upset you. For instance, some of the modifications that you put on here, I know, you can do cold air intake and a turbo back exhaust, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? Those are great modifications. Those will help you out immensely over the long run. But the thing is, some people go a little bit further than that. And sometimes when you put something on the car, for instance, taking that stock top-mount intercooler, changing it with even an STI one, for some reason, the damn coupler doesn't align up right with the throttle body, even though it's a part that's built for the freaking car, it still doesn't line up right, and you don't know why, and then the coupler's too small, and you have to modify it, and they're barely hanging on, but for some reason, you just get it to work. There's just a lot of homegrown engineering, you could say, to make these things work. Now, I have a turbo inlet hose on here, a parent turbo inlet hose, and that was probably the most pain in the ass install I could have probably ever done on a car. And I say that with the utmost respect to Perrin, who's basically on their installation video, it just went in like butter. It just whoop, popped right in there. 15-minute install, you're done, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no. I had 3 friends help me put that in, and I don't even think there would be a tube of KY jelly that would have slid that thing in. I mean, it was just a pain in the ass. It's easier to just remove the intake manifold, put it in, and then put the intake manifold on top than it is to do it the way the parent had said that you could install this thing. So there are some things that'll just piss you off with owning one of these cars. And the other thing is you've got to have a mentality with this thing. That no matter what you do, there's always going to be somebody that's faster than you. So even if you go and get your access port and you do exactly what Cobb says, where you can get on a 2-liter, by the way, I'm not comparing this to the 2.5s of the later years or whatever, this is for the 2.0s. If you follow what Cobb says and you put 565 injectors on it, an STI top mount intercooler, a VF39 or comparable turbocharger, and a turbo back exhaust with or without the Cobb and SF intake, that this car should create 350 horsepower, 300 or 289, whatever, pound-feet of torque, okay? And that number sounds really good, especially on these 2-liter engines. It sounds extremely good. But the thing is, when you actually get to wheel horsepower, what is actually put down at the wheels, it comes out to a heck of a lot less than what that number is. That number reads crank horsepower, and that's on a good day, cool weather, everything hitting the proper targets and everything. But even if you follow that, there's always going to be somebody faster than you. And you'll think, yeah, this is great, it's fun, it's fast, da da da. And then all of a sudden you get beat by an STI with just minor bolt-ons, intake, exhaust, tune. And then you're thinking, well, I need to go bigger, I need to go better, you need blah, blah, blah. All right, you have to have a mentality with these cars. You really do. And there are a lot of other things that you will kind of need to take care of as well, and kind of understand that these cars are a little different than your typical cars that you're well aware of, is the maintenance on the engine itself. You read through the forums, you hear about spun rod bearings and broken crank cases and ring lamp failure and whatnot, and you are going to have to deal with all of that. All of it. Not just one, all of it. Because it doesn't matter if you own a 2.0 or not, even though ring lamp failure is a lot less common in the 2.0s than it is in the 2.5s. Every single Subaru has to deal with rod bearing failure due to whatever reason the problem is with it being a boosted boxer engine or whatever the case may be. So, with that being said, it's still a good car to drive, but you have to maintain it. You can't literally look at this thing as a car that you can race 500 miles, 500 miles at wide open throttle like you could in a NASCAR or an Indy car. This is something that is a daily driver. It's not supposed to be driven that way. You can have fun for limited amounts of times, but it's not going to be the fastest car in the world. Unless you go and put upgraded internals on it, which on a 2-liter, some people will say that is completely useless because the block is almost an open deck. There's only really 2 cylinder wall points. So you've got to take everything into consideration when you buy one of these and you drive one of these. This isn't a car that you can literally beat the crap out of. It's a car that you do have to be gingerly with. I've learned, from my mistakes, from the problems that I've had with the transmission and everything, I've learned that you've got to be able to take care of these cars. And that's probably the biggest thing that you need to do with a Subaru, is you just have to take care of the car. So there are some headaches that you will throw at it, or it will throw at you, and it will piss you off to the point where you just can't stand it anymore, and you're saying, I want to get rid of this goddamn car, oh god, and you're going to start carving, names, stuff on the bathroom doors at the local, 7-Eleven, goddamn piece of shit, call my ex-girlfriend for a good time. That's what's going to happen when you have one of these and you really start working on it. So just remember, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't do anything crazy. Remember, it's your car. Do what you want with it. Now, I'm not happy with the 444 gearbox that I have in here. I mean, it's glorious in the fact that it's quick accelerating and it's great to drive around town, but when you're on the highway, no, forget about it. My freaking miles per gallon probably match what I get in the city. Okay, it's like, I think the max I can get is maybe like 27 miles per gallon on the highway, where other guys that are running the stock transmissions are getting 31 if you're good and staying out of boost. But this car, not gonna happen. But around town, I'll get better gas mileage than them. You know, most times they have to run, if they're going 45 miles an hour, they have to run in 4th gear, which is a higher RPM and a higher gear ratio, and I can sit in 5th gear at 35 miles an hour and just cruise in that pretty much all day. So there's some good sides to it, and particularly since I just drive around town most of the time, it's not too bad. But there are some headaches you will have with this thing. I mean, the brakes will upset you because they fade really fast, and unless you know what you're doing and you know how to combat that and make it better and whatnot, it's going to be an alright braking system. You just have to learn the car. You can't expect this thing to be an STI, because it's not an STI. And that is the biggest thing that everybody needs to understand. The WRX is not an STI. It's a poor man's version, so it's not going to have the top quality stuff. It's going to have stuff that'll break. It's like going from, and I can't even compare that. There's really no comparison to it, I guess you could say. There's none. I was trying to compare a Honda or a Chevy or a Ford or something, and you really can't. This car is very just unique to what it is. So again, it's going to have some heartaches. These things are going to come up and just really just make you mad. So this is just, you know, my little tutorial about the things that just kind of make you mad with this car and just get you really upset and just, you're angry and you just don't want to deal with it anymore. But just remember, in the end, if you work hard enough and you're patient with it, this car has, like I said, 110,000 miles on this thing. I drive it every day. And yes, I do need to get the timing belt replaced, and I'm working on that. But this thing drives so smooth. The shifter is great. The engine is smooth, even with the exhaust and all the performance mods to it. It makes good power. It's fun to drive. It's really just a blissful car to drive. But you have to be patient with these things. I went through years with this car not running right, giving me problems, and I finally, where it sits right now, with the front mount intercooler, the exhaust, the intake, the everything on it, it runs great. I cannot complain about this. So, again, thank you for watching this video. More to come next week when we do another video, or when I do another video, I should say. And just enjoy your cars, enjoy the ride, have fun. If you like the video, please like below. If you have any comments or anything, just, you know, leave them in the comment section below, even if you dislike it, whatever, I don't care. This video isn't for you anyways, so whatever. Enjoy, guys. Thank you so much.